Here with the latest in the recruiting world. Steve, we will start with KJ Bolden visiting Georgia this weekend for the South Carolina game. In August, he committed to FSU, but Georgia's still pushing for this five-star flip. What's the message they're trying to convey to Bolden as they try to keep him in his home state?
That you can stay home and play early at the powerhouse program. If anything, Georgia is recruiting KJ Bolden even harder, which is hard to do with how vigorously they recruited him the first time around. So they're going to get him back to campus. They're going to get him around the recruiting class that's ranked #1 nationally. A lot of those guys are going to be back between the hedges as well, and they're just going to show him the product on the field, get him around the staff again, and hope it moves the needle a little bit. KJ Bolden's got future visits scheduled to Florida State, going to be there for the Clemson game, looking to be at the Virginia Tech game. He may even go to Florida State's game at Clemson. So this is an uphill climb for Georgia, but they have not stopped recruiting him. KJ Bolden and his family still maintaining communication with Kirby Smart, Fran Brown, and that coaching staff. And Georgia will try and make a move this weekend, getting him around the game atmosphere, the fans, and the guys in the recruiting class.
Steve, the Bulldogs host South Carolina this weekend in the CBS Game of the Week. Between the hedges, five-star defensive lineman Aiden Breeland will be in from California. He's already taken his official visit there. He's in for an unofficial visit. Also, three-star defensive lineman Makai Burrow, former defensive line commit of the Florida Gators. He'll be there as well. Big target for Georgia. Where do the Bulldogs stand for these two?
Yeah, as the Bulldogs try and put the finishing touches on this #1 ranked class, these are two of their top remaining targets. And Aiden Breeland, there's been so much buzz and smoke around Oregon with Aiden Breeland. And there were times where I would have maybe even put Miami in the driver's seat. And this young man just released his top 3. Greg Biggins had the story. Georgia, Oregon, and Miami, the 3 finalists. But there are people that I talked to this week that think that Aiden Breeland will ultimately end up at Georgia. Big visit this weekend to get him back on campus. It's an opportunity for him to also play early at Georgia, get in that rotation as a young player. They've been recruiting him as strongly as anybody on the board. And like I said, there are people around the Athens program that like the chances that Georgia has coming into this visit. And then Burrow, he recently decommitted from Florida. There was already a lot of smoke about Georgia's position before he announced his decommitment. So really like where Georgia stands with him as they try and add one of the more massive players at the point of attack this cycle to what is already a terrific defensive line haul.
Hey, Steve, you and I haven't done a show in a while, so you know what I'm really missing in my life? I am missing the likes happy dance. There we go. Let's get some likes on this video. Remember to please subscribe to the 24 Sports YouTube channel if you haven't already. Moving on with recruiting news, Steve. Georgia, not the only SEC team with a big recruiting weekend. The Swamp hosting 2 coveted targets during the Tennessee-Florida rivalry game. Defensive lineman L.J. McCray and safety Xavier Mincy. They are 4-star teammates from mainland Daytona Beach. So what are you hearing on this in-state duo?
Yes, Florida looks to put the finishing touches on a class that ranks #3 nationally. And I love the way that they've really recruited the defensive line in front 7 over the last 2 cycles under Billy Napier and company. L.J. McCray could possibly be the best of the bunch of anybody that they've recruited over that span. And so L.J. McCray, he's kind of wanted to take his decision process into the season so he could watch these teams play and have that be a factor in his decision as he strongly considers Georgia, who I mark as the team to beat, Florida's who I've had in the 2-hole there. Then Florida State and Miami are certainly contenders, and he saw Florida State beat LSU, saw that defense flying around making plays. He was in Coral Gables area to watch Miami beat Texas A&M. So Florida State and Miami made statements in front of L.J. McCray about where their programs are at and why he should strongly consider them. This is a huge opportunity for Florida to do the same against an 11th ranked Tennessee team. Florida, look, he's been camping at Florida since middle school. He's been high on the Gators for a long time. Great relationship with Coach Chaos and that coaching staff. And if they can get a win against the Vols in front of L.J. McCray, I think that really continues to show the trajectory of the program. And then Xavier Mincy, I think Florida's always felt good about their position there. The buzz around that recruitment has said that the Gators have been one of the top programs, if not the top program. And his recruitment And prior to Florida playing Tennessee, I'm expecting several Gators coaches to be at these guys' game on Friday night to continue to show the big priority that they are as they try and finish up this recruiting class ranked number 3 nationally.
Steve, everything is coming up Colorado and Deion Sanders through 2 weeks of this season. They got another big one this week when Colorado State comes to town, and a lot of visitors making their way to Boulder, but the headliner, 4-star offensive lineman Jordan Seaton from IMG Academy, and I hear there also might be a couple other names joining him in Boulder this well.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to see Jordan Seaton play last Friday, and it was easy to see why he's one of the most coveted players left on the board in this 2024 recruiting cycle. And a lot of the programs that we talked about around his recruitment have been Alabama, who he's named as his leader in the summer, and reiterated that here early in the fall. Ohio State, Oklahoma, 2 other schools that have been prominently in the mix for him much of his process. Florida's trying to be in there. Oregon's trying to be in there. Colorado's kind of the upstart program in Jordan Seaton's recruitment. He's just started mentioning them a couple weeks ago. When I talked to him this week about his Colorado visit, he said he's looking forward to exploring the new wave of college sports under Coach Prime. He wants to see everything for himself, so he's going to get out there for a night game in prime time at Colorado. And this is a program that could really start moving up the list as he goes out there and takes in that atmosphere and sees the direction of the program. Colorado, we've seen Deion Sanders get that spatula out and flip blue chippers over the course of his short college coaching career. They have their eyes set on Boo Carter. They were a finalist for him, the Tennessee product, when he committed to the Vols back in June. They're still communicating with him, going to get him back out for a game day visit now. He's already been out there a couple times before, so we'll see what kind of needle that moves. And then the big news last week, Bryce Underwood, the #1 quarterback in the country in the 2025 class, Colorado, moving into his short list of top contenders alongside LSU, alongside Michigan. Adam Munsterreiger reporting that he will be on campus this weekend. We reported last week that we expected him there for the USC game, but now expected at Colorado this weekend. Just continues to show the excitement that Bryce Underwood and his family have for Colorado as they've really tried to push getting out there and seeing it. They wanted to get out there for the Nebraska game. That was a 10 a.m. local kickoff. This is a 10 p.m. Eastern time kickoff, much easier to get from Detroit to Boulder for this one, and Colorado trending up for Bryce Underwood and maybe several other blue chippers. Some of their commits are going to be back this weekend, Aaron Butler, Danny O'Neal. So it's going to be an exciting recruiting weekend at Colorado as they host some of the nation's best in 2024 and in 2025.
Yeah, that Bryce Underwood recruitment, more proof that the Prime effect is real. Speaking of quarterbacks, Steve, Notre Dame scoring almost 48 points a game. That's 12th best in the nation thanks to their new look offense with Sam Hartman. But once Hartman leaves, they have a top 5 quarterback prospect, CJ Carr, coming in with the 2024 class. After him, we're kind of looking at who's next. You have 4-star Bear Bachmeier visiting for the Central Michigan game. But what are you hearing with this situation?
Grace, one of my favorite things about what Marcus Freeman has been able to do since he's become the head coach at Notre Dame is really improve the way that the Irish have recruited the quarterback position. You mentioned CJ Carr, but they also landed top 247 quarterback Kenny Minchey in the 2023 cycle. CJ Carr in 2024, and they're in on 2 of the most touted guys at the position in 2025. And as you said there, as Tom Loy from our Notre Dame site reported earlier, Bear Bachmeier from Marietta Valley, California, expected to visit this weekend, top 247 passer. Notre Dame looks like the one to beat going into this visit. Could he jump into the fold? Will he not? Time will tell there, but I think that it's clear that Notre Dame has emerged as the program to watch for Bear Bachmeier coming into his visit to South Bend. But Notre Dame is also at or near the top of the list for another top 247 signal caller out of Mississippi, the Deuce Knight, who they've had to campus a couple times. I know his family's high on Notre Dame. I know that Coach Gino Guidalgi, Coach Gerard Parker, the company have done a great job recruiting him. He was supposed to come to the Ohio State game next weekend, but not sure that his high school football schedule is going to allow that. But this could be a case, guys, of who's ready to jump in first for the Irish. Will it be Deuce Knight? Will it be Bear Bachmeier? But one thing we know for sure is that the best quarterbacks in the country are interested in Notre Dame, and Marcus Freeman and company are capitalizing on that on the trail.
Steve, let's finish with four-star defensive lineman Brian Robinson out of the state of Ohio, the Cristobal. It's been on the Wolverines for quite some time, but I'm hearing there's a little bit of smoke with Kentucky right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You're hearing correctly. I think Kentucky's really starting to trend for Brian Robinson. Vince Marrow, Coach Stoops and company have always done a fantastic job recruiting the state of Ohio. And while I liked Michigan early in the process for Brian, really starting to like Big Blue Nation here for Kentucky. They've had him on campus this fall already, and he's not the only one that I could see Michigan ultimately getting a recruiting win on. Michigan here. Michigan's got two four-star defensive linemen committed, twins, Gerard Smith and Jacob Smith. They were at Kentucky's opener in Lexington. They're actually playing their senior seasons in the state of Kentucky at Corbin High, and I really think that Kentucky is trending there. My crystal ball is on Kentucky. Brian Doan's crystal ball is on Kentucky for those two to ultimately flip to the Wildcats. Now, there was a time where Michigan maybe looked like they stemmed that tide there, but again, the intel is now really heavy pointing towards Kentucky for them to flip the Smith twins and ultimately land Brian Robinson and add them to an intriguing recruiting class that has 17 commits right now.
All right, Steve Wiltfong with the latest. Thanks for joining us. For more analysis from him and the rest of our staff, subscribe to the 24/7 Sports YouTube channel and turn those notifications on so you never miss a breakdown of your favorite recruit, a game preview, the occasional hot take. We got those too, keeping you entertained and up to date here at 24/7 Sports.